Hi there and welcome to this week's vlog. I wonder if you've heard of something called Movember. It's a kind of initiative particularly focused on men and men's health. So what happens is during Movember men are challenged to grow a moustache, which probably is not all that common these days, but it's just a way of getting conversations going, I suppose. The conversations like so something like me. There's a group of us at church who are taking part in Movember. So on the 1st of November, I'm recording this in October, but you'll be able to watch it from November. So next time I record a vlog, it will be minus beard and minus this bit as well, moustache. And so during November, a moustache will slowly grow on all the guys at church and many others throughout the UK, I guess, who are taking part. I don't know if it happens in other countries as well, probably does. So the initiative, Movember, I suppose it's a combination of November and moustache. I guess that's what it is. So it's about raising awareness about men's health. Particularly, it's focused on prostate cancer, testicular cancer, and mental health and suicide prevention. The idea is, I think, that as men grow these moustaches, people might ask them why. That's a bit unusual these days, and get into a conversation. And it's a really, really important issue, men's health. Did you know that the biggest killer, or the leading cause of death among men under 50 is suicide? That's shocking, isn't it? That's in the UK. I guess there's similar statistics in other countries. The leading cause of death in the UK among men under 50 is suicide, men taking their own life. Just a few weeks ago, we had the sad news that Ricky Hatton, former boxing world champion, had taken his own life. And you may know people who've done that. The male suicide rate in the UK is 17.1 per 100,000, which doesn't sound all that much, but that's 17 lives in every 100,000. And think how many people there are in the country, how many men there are in the country. Female suicide rate is 5.6 compared with the 17.1. So there's something about men's lifestyle. I don't know what it is, but perhaps one of the reasons that men are more likely to take their own lives is because, generally speaking, this is a bit of a broad brush thing, men are not great at talking about their issues and their problems. They're reluctant to talk to others, to share what's going on inside them, and perhaps part of that is because they don't want to admit their weaknesses. I know that in my darkest of times, as I look back over my life, and this is a confession really, I've been really bad at sharing what's going on in my mind, in my heart. I've battled my way through it, but I've not been. I'm sure that if I'd been able to share what I was feeling with others, that would have been helped. And you hear about people who have taken their own lives, and sometimes those close to them had no idea that that was likely to happen, or no idea that they were suffering in such a way, such a mental health issue. So they're shocked when a loved one takes their own life, and they think, perhaps if only they talked to me about it. And that is one of the keys to unlocking the way forward. So what does the Bible have to say about this? Well, a couple of passages that came to mind. The first is in Ecclesiastes 4, which says, 2 is better than 1. If a person falls and they've got somebody with him, they can help them up. So that's a reminder that we're not meant to struggle along on our own. We are relational beings, and so we need sometimes to admit our need of help. You know, I've come across many people who've been reluctant to ask for help, but we need to recognize that sometimes we can't do it on our own. We need help, and we need to talk. We need to be open and honest, find people we can share with what's going on, so that we can feel supported and cared for. And the other verse that came to me, of course, is when Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane, going through the agony of looking forward to ahead to what was to come, when he was going to be arrested, tortured, crucified. And he takes 3 of his friends with him and says, stay here and pray with me. I mean, they fall asleep. But Jesus is open and honest about his struggles. He says this to them: my soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. So Jesus was open, was honest about his struggles, about his overwhelming sorrow as he faced what was to come. He shared that with his friends. And we should share when we're going through struggles, when we're struggling, we feel like we're drowning with the end of our tether. It's important that we share. So I hope that I may give some pause for thought, and maybe when you're going through tough times, when you're going through times of real struggle, please share, tell somebody, ask for help. That's what I'm going to do. But I'm hopefully through Movember I'll get into conversations, and certainly there's a group of men at church, which is good. We'll be able to encourage and support each other. So just a few thoughts about a Movember. Next time you see me, no beard. God bless. Thanks so much for looking.